Now to a disturbing story. A Newman Center at the University of Nebraska received a death threat in a note by a pro-abortion group, Jane's Revenge. This is yet another incident targeting pro-lifers and church groups in the wake of the Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. Should these threats be taken more seriously? Here to share his thoughts on this story and more is sociologist and president of the Catholic League, Dr. Bill Donohue. Bill, thank you for being here. I want to start with this note from Jane's Revenge. Bill, I'll read this to you. It says, if our right to abortion in Bellevue is taken away due to the attempt to pass an abortion ban, and it gets passed, we will shoot up your Newman Center with our new AR-74 rifles. Sincerely, Jane's Revenge, end quote. Bill, as you know, this is just one of many threats directed at crisis pregnancy centers, churches, but this one is particularly disturbing. What do you make of these threats, now extending apparently to Catholic centers at colleges, and the anti-Catholic slant in these threats?
Well, it's been going on now for months. They're very consistent, are they? They want to take out their rifles and kill the pro-life people, and they want the kids to be killed in the womb. So bloodthirsty is what they are. I wrote to the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, several months ago about Jane's Revenge, asked him to have a probe, an investigation as to what's going on. I know they're kind of loosely affiliated, but they can find out who they are if they want to. And of course, he never replied. So now we expect that Jim Jordan, Representative Jim Jordan from Ohio, might be the new head of the Judiciary, the House Judiciary Committee next year. So we're going to ask him to have an investigation. You've got these groups like Antifa and Jane's Revenge. They are really the ultimate fascist of our day. They believe in violence. They believe in randomness. They believe in targeting people who are innocent. They don't believe in engaging in conversation and dialogue. They have no website. There's no place where you can really reach them. So they're acting in kind of a stealth-like fashion, and they need to be crushed.
Local Nebraska law enforcement agencies have issued statements, Bill, assuring the public that this threat is going to be investigated. Given the lack of federal attention that these kinds of threats since Roe v. Wade was overturned, do you feel confident that violence or these threats of violence against pro-life groups and even a Newman Center is being taken seriously enough?
Well, I'd put more faith in the states. I really do. And it depends on the state legislature, obviously, and some of the people there. The federal government has not shown under the Biden administration that they're interested in this. They have all kinds of investigations going on about things that they're interested in. But when it comes to violence against the pro-life people, they don't seem to care. Their enthusiasm for abortion is off the charts, and so they don't want to be perceived as being offending the abortion fanatics. And yet, I don't care what side you're on the issue of abortion. It would seem to me, look, if somebody's going to targeting Planned Parenthood abortion clinics and blowing them up, and Planned Parenthood offices, I would speak out against it. This shouldn't have to be an issue that cuts that way. But the pro-life people now are being victimized, and the media are not reporting on it because the media are largely in the pro-abortion camp.
Bill, I want to move on to another story, and these may be related to what we just spoke about. The Respect for Marriage bill just passed the House. It passed the Senate last week. It's expected to be signed by the president. It essentially repeals the 1996 Defense of Marriage Act and would require all states to recognize any and all marriages, regardless of sex, race, ethnicity, or national origin, performed in any other state. Now, last month, the U.S. bishops issued a statement regarding the amendments to that act, and it said the amended act will put the ministries of the Catholic Church, people of faith, and other Americans who uphold a traditional meaning of marriage at greater risk of government discrimination. Bill, your thoughts on the bishop's objections here, and do you expect to see infringements on the church's ability to express its conscience on this matter of marriage?
Well, I commend the bishops for speaking out on this, and particularly Cardinal Dolan has been very good on this issue. The question about there are some religious liberty protections and amendments. The question is, are they strong enough? When some people tried to make them stronger, they were shot down. So that makes me think that they're probably not strong enough. We know one thing for a fact. The legal question is yet to be decided, but they're clearly making it difficult for people who believe that marriage is an institution for men and women, for the procreation of the family, they're making it difficult for us to be accepted in our society. They are stigmatizing and marginalizing us because if you read the actual bill, it celebrates gay marriage, all right? Now, that Obergefell decision was made out of whole cloth. Scalia was right about that. They basically said that from time immemorial, that everybody was wrong, and everybody ever sat as a jurist on the Supreme Court was wrong, and Obama was wrong, and all these people were wrong because they believed that marriage between a man and woman, these guys rolled out of bed one day and said, no, two men can get married. Well, marriage is about the family. They throw in the interracial marriage thing. That's a red herring. Nobody's complaining about that. You're talking about behavior. People have a right to pass moral strictures and norms on the basis of behaviors which they think are inimical to the best interest of the social order. Marriage exists for a reason. And if it doesn't have any good social reason, then just do away with it. People will always find a way to fornicate. You can have polygamy. There's no limiting principle. I don't think the American people themselves have really thought this thing through. I am afraid that, yes, there's going to be an attempt at thought control to get us into line, and they're already marginalizing us. We are now the bigots. If you believe that marriage is between a man and a woman, somehow you are now the bigot, okay? The whole thing has gone topsy-turvy in this madness of our age.
Bill, I want to move on to another First Amendment issue. The Catholic League filed an amicus brief at the Supreme Court. The brief is written in support of a Colorado woman, a web designer, who would be subjected to an anti-discrimination act in Colorado that would compel her to design a website celebrating same-sex marriage. Why did your organization file this brief?
Well, largely because of the masterpiece cake one. There was a guy, Jake Phillips, who a few years ago, you remember, he didn't want to custom make a cake for two guys who claimed to be getting married. He never denied homosexuals the right to sell any of his bakery goods. He just simply said, you're asking me now to affirm behavior, which I can't accept. It got caught up in a technicality, and they threw it out. I mean, he won on that, but he won on a technicality. The larger macro issue was never resolved. So you have gay rights versus religious liberty. Well, the reason why we got involved in an amicus brief on this, or our Pittsburgh firm of Gallagher and Giancarlo, is because we understand what's at stake here. This is, again, a matter of thought control. This woman has her own free speech rights, which happen to be her conscience rights grounded in her religion. She has no problem servicing people who are gay or straight or white or black or whoever you are. Mm-hmm. She does have a problem trying to affirm, to sanction, to give her blessing to a gay marriage ceremony, which is based on behavior. Now, some people like Father Martin, the LGBTQI+++ priest, he came out and said that, no, this would mean that then you can discriminate, and a web designer wouldn't have to be able to service somebody if they're Jewish or black or Buddhist or whatever. No, it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with ascribed or demographic characteristics.
Yeah, Father James Martin and other critics, they say that this has nothing to do with free speech, that it's codifying homophobia if you let this stand. You would say what?
Yeah. Well, I would say, is he calling the bishops for homophobes? He effectively is. The bishop signed an amicus brief, as the Catholic League did. Are they all a bunch of homophobes? Look, I don't know if anybody in my whole life was a phobia about homosexuals, right? I know people who don't like the homosexual radical agenda being shoved down their throat. That doesn't make you phobic, all right? Look, if you're going to say to a Jewish guy who's an artist that you must be required to put a swastika on a synagogue, here's a photo, and I want you to paint the swastika on that, he has a right to say no, because you're asking him to affirm behavior that he doesn't want. It has nothing to do with the individual demographic characteristics of the person. And people are muddying the issue because they can't win on the basis of its merits.
We'll see what the Supreme Court says. Bill, finally, Christmas is right around the corner. The Catholic League has put up its annual nativity scene in New York Central Park. We have an image here. And you're following several Christmas controversies. I want to get into this one. The Human Resources Department in King County, Washington, which includes Seattle, have decided that all Christmas and Hanukkah decorations are banned. And this rule has some notable exceptions. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, you can wear Black Lives Matter, which is a fraud, as we know, and is engaged in violence, now under investigation. But if you're a Jew, you can't wear a Star of David. If you're a Christian, you can't wear a cross. So all secular symbols, including terrorist organizations, they're allowed, but not when it comes to Catholics and Protestants. Now, they've even gone so far as to say that if you're working from home and you got your little Zoom call with other people, we don't want religious symbols in the background. So they're into your home. This has to be called fascism, okay? This is the hand of government now policing people on the basis of conscience, on the basis of their First Amendment right to religious liberty in their own home. Where will they go next? And the fact that this is taking place in an area which is known for anarchism, urban anarchism, they've destroyed their city with their summer of love, of course, which is summer of hate. So it's all tied together, isn't it? Here's the thread. Militant secularism kills. It kills civil liberties, and it kills cops, and it kills innocent people. And King County in Washington is one of the most extreme places you could live in the face of the earth. And that's why people need to point out what's going on and fight
Bill,
back. We need a winter of resistance.
The celebration of Christmas has come under fire in recent years in the interest of inclusivity. But you're finding that inclusivity is being used to dilute or even neuter Christmas. What are you seeing this year?
Oh, it used to be that December was the dilemma month. What are we going to do? There are other holidays in December. Yeah, there are. There are lots of holidays in February, but we call it Black History Month, don't we? So why did you choose December? Typically what they did, the people who are the anti-Christmas people, they would say we have to celebrate Eastern religions. I'm all in favor of celebrating Eastern religions on their own dime, at their own time, okay? You don't hijack Christmas in the name of inclusivity and shove it down our throat. I believe in respecting all religions equally. They don't. And they have a particular animus against Christians, and they always express it at Christmas time. We're
Bill,
not fooled by them.
Before we go, you all have a big announcement Monday about Disney and a new project you're involved in. You want to tell us anything about it?
Yeah, we're going to roll it out. Well, we want to roll it out on Monday, and there could be more about it. The big day is coming up in January, in the beginning of January. We know what Disney was, the most family-friendly institution in America, and we know what it's become. And we're going to tell a story about it, and I think it's going to go over big, and stay tuned on Monday.
Bill Donohue, thank you for being here. Merry Christmas, Bill.
Merry Christmas.